Hey, Scuttlebutt listeners. I know we tend to say, talk up our guests, but today's guest, this is truly, truly an honor. I don't have the words, so I'm not going to try. Kyle Carpenter, man, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. I've seriously got goosebumps, man. This is crazy.
Well, I appreciate the love and support. Thanks for having me. Scuttlebutt is like the greatest podcast name, so love throwing it back to the good old day terminology. So yeah, all good, and it's always great to again be in DC, and even better to be around Marines and people that get it and that appreciate what we have, and all the hardworking people and companies that keep our country safe. So
absolutely,
super cool,
man. But having you here, like I said, I for one, I want to thank you for everything you've done for this country, for the Marine Corps. Brother, thank you. I've still got goosebumps, man. I was actually telling William that I was in Marja less than a year after you were.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and just how much things had changed, but yet still kind of stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, thank you for everything. Semper Fi, man.
Yeah, it was my honor to serve, my greatest honor to serve. I would do it again, and I've had an amazing journey. Obviously tough at times,
yeah,
but I wouldn't trade a second of it for anything, because you have to take the good and the bad to get where you are in life. And you can't have one without the other, and it's tough to go through those difficult times, to be knocked down, but to embrace the struggle also, to learn from it, to grow, to get better. And you wouldn't be who you are, where you are, without the entirety of your journey. So
absolutely.
That's just one of the many lessons that I've learned through my journey, to accept and understand, and to realize that you have to life is a journey, and you have to embrace all aspects of it.
Yeah. Well, one of the most touching things, as I was, I've been following you, is like that story of you at home eating cereal with your mom, and your mom coming up and hugging you, and promising you things would be better, and how that was sort of one of those moments, like, well, I could sit here and just do this, or I could make something of it. And dude, like, yeah, that was just so, when I was reading that, it was just so heartfelt. I've got 2 boys. I just, the character that it takes to push through that. I guess sort of what I'm getting at is, like, when I look at your resume, one of the things I see, obviously you got author, speaker, youngest living Medal of Honor recipient, Marine. All of that sort of like can be encompassed as a storyteller. What do you think that is there a certain responsibility that comes, do you think, with like having this life experience and then having this like genuine care and appreciation for other people's life experiences, sort of that merging?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all have a responsibility to share what we know and to try to help others along their journey of life. Because we've all done more than some and less than others.
Right.
We all have different experiences. We all are on our own journey. So never compare your struggles or even victories with anyone else. Learn from others, but never compare, because your journey is your own. Your struggle is your own. We all heal in our own time and in our own way. But that moment at the kitchen counter was by far my most difficult moment. Because for months before, now looking back, I realized that I wasn't that good in the hospital. But first of all, when you wake up after experiencing, especially waking up 5 weeks later, which they could have said, hey, it's 5 seconds past, or 5 weeks, 5
like
years.
Time warped, right?
Yeah. It was more than darkness. It was just a void that you can't really describe. But after experiencing what you think and are certain in your heart and soul are your final moments. After thinking about your family, specifically your mom, and how devastated that she was going to be when that government car pulled into the driveway, or those two Marines in dress blues knocked on the door. To have those final moments and to be so certain of them, to wake up, it's like my baseline. I can never really be that bummed or take things that seriously or be...
Nothing's quite as dire as it was before, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because from the moment I woke up until this very moment, every day has felt like a bonus round. And it's easy to be more grateful and to have the perspective and be thankful for the life and every second and day you have, because I experienced the alternative. Now, it wasn't false, happiness or optimism or strength or anything like that. I was okay in the hospital and in those first few months. They were extremely tough and painful. It's not fun breathing through a straw in your neck pretty much for 3 months. But I was okay. And now looking back, I realize a decent amount of that was being strong for my family and my medical teams, who were not only pouring their heart and soul into keeping me alive and to getting me better, because Walter Reed is, shout out,
Yeah,
big
right,
time.
yeah.
It's just an amazing family, because you're not just a patient that as a doctor they're helping physically recover. They're wearing the same uniform as you, so they get it, and
That's
they
a good
care
point.
about you, your family. And so I wanted to be strong and to be good for them. But after, months later, and also that's how it goes a lot in life. We try to be strong for those around us because we see that, hey, if we're hurting, our parents are hurting. If it's hard for us to breathe, it's hard for our loved ones to breathe. And even worse, they can't do anything about it. They just have to be there and suffer through it with you.
Yep.
And so months later, because there were so many, Walter Reed was at max capacity. 3-4 months after I got to Walter Reed, it was time for me to leave the acute inpatient stage, and I actually got to go home for a few months and recover. Still going to therapy every day at a hospital in South Carolina, and every 2 weeks my mom would drive me back up to Walter Reed.
Wow.
And so, which can be a 7-hour trip or a 12-hour, depending on Northern Virginia traffic.
That's right.
And so that was our agreement between my chain of command at Walter Reed and my medical teams. And so it almost seemed too good to be true. Like, you get out of the hospital and you get to just go home and hang out on the couch with the dog and the family and eat mom's amazing food. And so we agreed. I was at home, and I'd only been home for a few days. And now looking back, I realized that this moment at the kitchen counter that night, it was about 9:30 at night after another long day of therapy. And I realized that it was the first time that I had sat, just me, my own thoughts, my own new body that I had since the hospital, but really since before I joined the Marine Corps. And so I'm sitting there, and I attempted to be a big bad Marine and make myself this bowl of cereal because, of course, you're wanting to regain your independence. Could barely lift the milk. It felt like it weighed 100 pounds, and it was only about half full. I got the cereal poured, and, with every bite, I just felt like I was being just defeated because at this point, all my teeth had been blown out by the grenade. Severe nerve damage through my face. I hadn't had the nerve grafts in my arms or the tendon transfers to my fingers, so my wrist just hung really bad. And so sitting there eating the cereal, it was like, man, every single bite, I just got more down and down. And then out of nowhere, from after being good for the past 3.5, 4 months, immediately I crashed and hit a mental and physical and emotional rock bottom. And I'm going to blame the tears on the medication because, Marines don't cry.
That's
but,
right. Shouldn't be chopping onions.
The tears started to flow. My mom ran in from the living room, asking me what happened, what was hurting, what was wrong. And all I could choke out was one simple and devastating question. And I said, look at me. Who's ever going to love me again? And first of all, it's never good to ask yourself daunting questions in life that no matter what you do, you're not going to know the answer for years.
Right.
You just have to stay the path and keep true to
Yeah, it's
the journey.
like hindsight knowledge.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. But as I sat there crying, a few moments passed, and I regretted saying it, because I saw for the first time that when I lost hope, Mom kind of lost hope, and it broke her heart. And but after time has passed, I don't know how I had this insight sitting there all banged up, under the dim kitchen lights of our counter that night. But I just realized that in life, first of all, if you're here, if you're alive, you're going to face adversity. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
It's the one
Spoiler
common
alert.
thread. Scars and adversity is the one common thread throughout every single person in this convention, every single person on this earth. But when we get knocked down or blown up, or whatever insurmountable odds you are faced with, we really only ever have two options. And that is to get up and take that small, shaky, uncertain step forward. You don't have to have a perfect plan. We rarely do, if such a thing even exists.
Right.
You don't have to have a perfect plan, but you have to, in good time. You can take a day or a month or maybe the rest of your life to work on healing. But eventually you have to get up, and all you can do is move forward, because the past is truly the past. There's nothing we can do. Again, surprise, there's nothing we can do to change, get back, or erase 1 second of what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But we can get up and move forward, or we are going to sit at that kitchen counter for the rest of our life. And I'm so thankful for that small, shaky, uncertain step I took from the counter that night, because it's led me to crossing the finish line of 3 marathons, going skydiving across the world, being alive and happy and healthy enough and recovered enough to be here, to be around Marines, to experience new things in life, whether that's just like exploring a new trail on my bike, reading and learning something from a new book, or just spending time with loved ones, or to be able to just call and say, hey, thanks for what you did for me. I love you.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm still here. Life is good. And again, it's okay to struggle, because we all do. But you do have to realize that at some point, when you're ready, sooner than later, you have to get up and you have to move forward, because your life is ahead of you and not behind you.
Yeah.
Lessons learned come, from your past, but you have to move forward.
Yeah. You got to take that full 30-inch step, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even some certain things that most of us might take as mundane, probably we all need to be a little more introspective and see the value and the blessing in that. Thinking about like how you got your degree from University of South Carolina, like you joined a fraternity. It's like all these things that we just count up, like air quotes, the normal experience. Like these are all wonderful, unique things, and
They're experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything in life, good or bad, every person, every experience can teach you something, if you are willing to pay attention and to learn from it and to think about it after and kind of dissect it, I guess. But that's a great point, because if I could describe my entire journey in one word, it would be perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because perspective allows you to not only constantly search for, but to find and to appreciate the silver linings and blessings throughout life, which at times can seem very, very faint.
Right.
But they are always there. Perspective allows us to see the most of people and the world around us, and perspective, allows you to look at that glass half full, but also not forget when you could only see it as half empty.
Right.
And perspective really can shape your life, your mindset, and your world. And so that's one of, I guess, my foundational points when I speak to people is, hey, it's not what happens to you, it's how you approach it. It's how you accept it. It's how you get knocked down, and when you're knocked down, you think about hey, that was on me, or I could have prepared better, or I lost a loved one. And as devastating as that is, and as much as I'm terrified to have any more hurt in my life after losing my buddies and having one grandparent left and all of our parents get older, like that is almost a crippling fear. But keeping perspective, you can say, you know, I lost them too soon, which it's always going to feel like too soon. But instead of saying, hey, I lost them too soon, wow, I had 74 years to spend that time. And they know that I love them. And we had all those Christmases and great moments and tough times together. So it's really the approach and how you accept, that external output.
Yeah. Well, speaking of approach, like, what would you, and as you are on your speaking engagements, as you are engaging with this current generation of Marines, soldiers, sailors, airmen, recent veterans of the long war, like guys who, sort of, I guess, I hate to say on the tail end, but, they're out, they're veterans of a war. Like, what are some of the things, the perspectives, the approaches that you would say to them when you have this, like, weird generational gap? You have, like, people who are in it, like, their entire career. Then you have those who are now recently out, and then you have new accessions and this new generation who don't even remember 9/11, for example.
I would say that none of that really matters.
Okay.
Because I believe that before all of that came, we can't help what generation we're born in,
right,
or when we're born. But before all of that came, the exact same similarity between every single veteran and service member is they walked into a recruiting station and they raised their right hand to give up to their life for a greater purpose, for our nation, for each other, for those that they were going to serve with that they had never met, and people that might not even appreciate or respect the uniform. They love all the liberties and freedom we have, and they just don't understand. That is extremely powerful and profound.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything stronger in the world or more powerful than the heart of a volunteer. So I would say, really think about what you did and how amazing that is. Be proud that you raised your right hand. Be proud that you served. Whether it's 4 years, 30 years, whether you're a sergeant major or you got out as a lance corporal, whether you went to combat, whether you didn't, no matter what your job is. And one thing, never discredit yourself, because it really bothers me and kind of eats me up inside when veterans approach and they say, one of the first things they say, oh, well, I never went to combat or did anything like you. Okay, well, what'd you do? Well, I was supply. Well, because of the supplies that you helped manage, maintain, get on that bird, logistically get out to the troops, saved my life. And because of your job, not because of mine, because of your job, now we're sitting here having this conversation. You were able to meet me. I was able to meet you. And now, because of what you did, I can help the effort of going out and making a positive impact in the world. So never discredit yourself. And I always get asked about transition when it comes to veterans.
Sure.
Take time, no matter what transition, into the military, out of the military, into college, into a job. Transition is the unknown. But we are experts at the unknown. We joined a life of service. We didn't know what the next PT morning entailed. We didn't know what the next deployment entailed. We didn't know if we were going to make it home from the next deployment or training op. So, it's okay. Transition can be scary, especially when you have family members and loved ones depending on you. But take time to think about deeply where you're at, where you've been, where you want to go, what your goals are. And spending just a few minutes every day thinking about something can mitigate so much of the hardship and the unknowns that come with it. it was pretty crazy leaving the hospital after 3 years and starting as a freshman at University of
Right.
South Carolina
I can
a
imagine.
week later.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time thinking about it in the hospital. Do I want to hang the uniform up? If so, what do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to school. I started bringing a tutor to the hospital. I did a couple of internships just to start getting around civilians and out of the military strict mindset. So think about it and know that transition is a natural and good part of life. You have to grow, you have to do it. Whether you serve 50 years or 4, you're going to have to transition, okay? It's inevitable. So, again, perspective, focus on that you did it.
Mm-hmm.
You served, you had the experience, you raised your right hand, you gave 4 or 30 years of your life to a greater purpose, and now it's on to the next chapter and continuing to work towards becoming the best version of yourself. So, and veterans, we have an insane amount of potential in the world and in the workplace. You know, as a CEO, you could say to a veteran, hey, we don't have the resources. You get a 2 or 3 man team. We don't know exactly how we're going to accomplish this objective, but I need you to do it by Friday at close
You're
of business.
You're understaffed and overworked.
And it'll be done by Thursday at close of business.
Right.
So for those that are potentially going to hire veterans, understand our worth. And, you know, there's always the 1%, whether it's veterans or anybody, any group, any organization, there's always that 1% that isn't going to uphold the standard of all of us. But for the vast majority, veterans are incredible people.
Yep.
And we can contribute a lot if, you know, with a little bit of patience and helping us out. Because, as y'all know, the military mindset is drastically different from the real world. But all the same lessons and principles apply and have been learned. It's just the terminology, which about my book, you know, my podcast, whatever I do, I've realized that, you know, over the years doing various events, another thing that people always say is, you know, well, I never served in the military, but, and then they will proceed to tell me their own version of struggle or their own kind of journey of life. So I realized, like, yeah, we're all on the same journey. Of course, we all do and know different things. It's just a matter of the words and approach to make that bridge to where everyone can understand.
Right.
So speaking of that bridge, as the civilian in the room right now, civilians range from idiocy to genuinely caring and wanting to relate to vets and help them express their experiences because we do care and love you. What can civilians do to help veterans better relate and bridge that gap you're talking about between our world and y'all's?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I would say, you know, you can learn a lot just, you know, off, it is 2023, off Google, YouTube. You can learn a lot about the veteran culture, about our military and what we do. But when it comes to the real world, everyday type of experiences, if you see a veteran, you know, most veterans are either humbled or for some reason kind of embarrassed to be approached, but the vast majority appreciate it, you know, and they don't mind talking about their service, whether they're missing 3 limbs or they never went to combat. You know, they do have a story and a journey, and they did serve. So at least I encourage others, like, hey, people didn't have to come over and take the time to ask you about your service and to say thank you. So instead of just, hey, thanks for your service, which that's appreciated too.
Sure.
But, hey, thanks for your service. Hey, what'd you do in the military?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what was that like? What was Afghanistan like? Or, oh, what was it like working on helicopters? Whatever it is, show some of that interest. You learn. They learn how to maybe speak to civilians better, or to maybe it's the first time they've ever really thought about, like, oh, what did I do? You know, how do I feel about that? And just, you know, it's a work in progress, and every conversation contributes to that expanding of knowledge. But really just take the time, and ultimately, whether you approach a veteran or not, as an American and as just a human being, to just appreciate and respect, that they served, and just be thankful and enjoy the life that you have, and that those that haven't served, which is obviously totally fine. We all contribute to this country, and we all have our own path. But really just, appreciate and be thankful for what we have, and that you can leave here and do whatever you want for the day or in life. And, you can get high and tights like me, still staying motivated, or you can grow out your hair to have, a lush flow like you.
Yeah,
so
it is a lush.
Well,
it's
we have kind of the array, because I've noticed veterans either go 3 ways. They keep high and tight, no facial hair. They keep high and tight,
grow a beard.
or they're just like, to hell with it, and then just go full Grateful Dead hippie.
I'm working the middle. I keep the nice haircut, but I'm rocking the beard.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you for coming on our show. We really appreciate you. Do you have any plugs or any way we can?
What are your current projects?
So I do a lot of public speaking. A year ago, I started a podcast, which I'm doing everything completely on my own, and I'm going
Amen
around the
to that,
country.
bro.
2 people. I'm dragging an old rifle Pelican case around that's still covered in dust, but now it holds 2 microphones. I have a very amateurish YouTube channel that during COVID I made some videos just to help give people some positivity and get through the weird and strange times that was COVID. But ultimately, no matter what I do, again, I'm grateful to be here, and knowing how valuable and precious time is. Anything that I do is intentionally another tool to put in the toolbox, because I have all these different things going on, but ultimately my main goal in life is to make the greatest impact on the world that I can with the time that I have. So anything I do is intentionally geared towards helping that goal.
Awesome. Well, Kyle, again, such an honor, absolute honor.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do. For our listeners, you can be found at williamkylecarpenter.com, correct?
Yes.
Will post links and stuff to your podcast, your YouTube channel.
What's your podcast
LinkedIn.
called again?
The Kyle Carpenter Podcast.
Oh, Easy Day.
Perfect.
Yeah, Easy Day. Kyle
I
Carpenter.
was going to go with Happy to Be Here, but there's a few of those out there upon further research.
I'm sure that's more weed-based podcast content too.
But I'm kind of glad I settled on that now, just for connectivity and kind of name recognition, and just allowing that to kind of sync up with all my other stuff. But I also love Instagram.
Okay.
Not in really the social media type of way, but I've seen firsthand that it is a unique and can be a very powerful tool if utilized correctly to connect with others and to help others along their journey.
Sure. I mean, it's how people communicate, right?
So, it's a journey, and it's a continuing work in progress. But hey,
Yeah, well, lead the way, brother.
it's good to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Yeah, please. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Scuttlebutt is a production of the Marine Corps Association. I am William Trudy. But you've also heard the voices or contributions of Vic Rubel, USMC retired, Auntie Lichman, or Ty Frazier. The opinions expressed in this episode do not reflect the official stance of the Marine Corps, DoD, or Marine Corps Association.